Hey there, I'm Al Petteway, and I'm really honored to be included in this series from Pearlworks. I'm a long time fan of the folks there and the work they do. Back to when Larry was just cutting pearl with a little tiny coping saw on a bird's eye thing, going for every little tiny piece that he inlaid. And it's hard to imagine that now when you see the computers they use and everything's just laid out and but boy, it was an interesting time, and he had this dream, and you guys carried it on, and I'm happy. I'm going to start this set with a little medley of tunes, and I'll be playing them on the Sifel Night Sky that was made by Joe Nags and Mike Bile and the people at Pearlworks for me as a sort of a presentation thing from Jean Sifel, Larry's widow, and that was not only a surprise, but it was just it's an amazing guitar, and I love it. So I'm going to play a little medley, starting with Seifel's Creek, and then I think I'll go into River, and maybe from River into Seven Swans, something like that. They're all in the same tuning, so if I can figure out a good sequence, that's what I'm going to try. Thank you. Okay, here we go. go. Now I have the very first ever, one of the first ever Sifel guitars ever built. This was called the Dryad. And Larry made this for me when I was playing bluegrass music, and he made it kind of a big box, big shape. Nowadays I use it if I want to use something in a low C tuning, like what I have it in now. And it sounds as good as ever. It's an amazing guitar. I think this was made in, I want to say 1987, maybe, something like that. And this is all hand done inlay on this. There's no computerized work up here, or even, in this is an ivory woman hanging from a tree branch and stars and the moon. All the handwork around the inlay, around the edges and around the sound hole is all just, I remember watching him cut these tiny little diamonds, one by one. I guess I should be looking at the camera there. I forgot I was using an iPad. Ha. Anyway, now I know where you are. There you are. So I'm going to talk to you from over this direction. Anyway, this guitar is still one of my favorites. It doesn't get played as much as I'd like it to, but it still gets played enough to keep its sound. I'm going to do a little tune called Broken Mist. I just wanted to give you a little taste of this particular guitar because it's still one of my favorites. And I know I don't have a whole lot of time, so I want to show you one more guitar before we finish up. Let's see, we got guitars everywhere. Okay, this one is one that Larry and I designed together. We got out a big piece of cardboard, made a drawing, figured out different dimensions. It's got a little deeper body than a typical guitar this size. This one has a neck that's got pegs in it, as opposed to having a bolt-on neck or something like that. They're two wooden pegs that go opposite directions and suck the heel down onto the block. Very interesting way to do it. This one has a newer neck on it because when I first had the guitar, it had some issues with the neck, and so Larry built me another one. So this one I think does have the computerized inlay that Gene designed for Larry's guitars. You can see it better right there. Yeah, and this is probably one of the only guitars he ever built that does not have any inlay on the fingerboard, which is something that I prefer typically, and so that's why I have one like this. I've used this on a lot of my records, and he even put a temporary neck on it for, I think, maybe it's The Water is in the Wild. One of the CDs that I put out. I wanted to record with this guitar, and so Larry put on a temporary neck. He put on like a Paul Reed Smith neck, just long enough for me to do the recording, which was pretty awesome. And it wasn't even a finished neck, but it was, it was perfect for doing a recording. And you never would have known listening back that it had a unfinished Paul Reed Smith neck on it. But I just wanted this guitar on that album, so I can't remember which one it was, but it was one that was. It was during the time when I was doing a lot of Maggie's music recordings and stuff. Anyway, I'm going to do a song specifically for Daniel and Becca and their new baby. Congratulations. This is one that I transcribed for them for their wedding, and I guess they had it played at their wedding. I'm not sure, but it's called Spindrift, and I'm so happy that I was able to get this thing together enough to share with you some of these beautiful Sifel instruments. So here is Spindrift.